Today's One Shot is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com. On this week's One Shot, the film composer Paul Haslinger. I'm RJ. Let's get to it. So, the Austrian composer Paul Haslinger. He's most known for some of the Underworld soundtracks. He's not on all of them. He didn't exclusively do all on the Underworlds. But he has created the themes and created a lot of the music that you would recognize as Underworld. I will be putting up some of my select songs onto RJ's Take, and so go check them out. Anyway, he tends to involve a little bit of electronic, music into his work. That stems from his early work. In the 80s, he was part of a group called Tangerine Dream. That was pretty big, and think kind of instrumental meets poppy, indie, electronic kind of music for that. I don't particularly like a lot of it, but I definitely am glad that he learned his chops there. He honed his skills, and then he ended up leaving in the early 90s and started working consulting on films, and then his first major release, the one that really got appreciated and notice was taken, was the Underworld movie. He did a phenomenal job on those soundtracks, and while I don't love every song, I do very much want to bring them to your attention, bring him as an artist to your attention. His style is not traditional in a sense. I bring up an artist like Thomas Newman, and he is, he writes very classical orchestral pieces that just so happen, to be written for a movie. They work independently very well, and they do definitely heighten sensibility and create atmosphere in a scene, but they are not as specific as, say, Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman writes music that, from moment to moment, really changes and heightens what's going on in the scene. So you have somebody that barges into a saloon, you're going to have music that creates the same kind of explosion as the door comes in, and then maybe a little bit of silence, and then back into like an angry tone or something. He's going to illustrate it with music very directly, whereas Thomas Newman not so much. It's a very unique way of interacting with film, and it doesn't always work with every film. But I bring up Danny Elfman. I believe that Paul Haslinger is akin to Danny Elfman in that way. He uses music in the same way to illustrate a scene from moment to moment, and he does it in much of a darker, more electronic way than Elfman. Elfman has a very innocent kind of child-like a way of doing things sometimes. It's very bright. It's very orchestral. It stays very classic instrument. Whereas Paul Haslinger, he's been doing some of the more gritty stuff. It makes me think of some of the other, like Jesper Kyd and whatnot, that do some of the video game soundtracks. But he uses a lot of little electronic touches. I believe it's showcased really well in the soundtracks for the Underworld. And I really do enjoy that music. Now, we're going to be reviewing the 4 movies from the Underworld on Friday on Dual Review, so check that out. But I noticed that I didn't really mention the music too much, and it was really just because we had so much to put into that review that I didn't have time, and so I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it here. Now, I don't think that everything he does is gold. I would say that he's one to watch, but, he's been around for a while, so it's just that it does definitely have a place in my library. I really do enjoy some of the songs very, very much. In fact, some of them are a little bit Thomas Newman. I really think highly of Thomas Newman, so when I bring him up and compare him to another artist, I really am giving them high praise indeed. There are some songs that Paul does that fit right into that. Just a little bit quirky, a little bit off, but very sweet, and definitely I'll have those on my blog, so check out what I'm talking about. Any other film score that you guys want me to explore? Possibly I already have listened to them. But yeah, I'm always looking for new music. I love scores. I just love to have them on in the background. It does not distract me. It just kind of helps me work and reminds me of moments in the movie. It's always funny when you're listening to a score and life happens around you. Sometimes it fits perfectly with the music, and that's a lot of fun. But I really do enjoy that. I have a music background, and Paul is one that you should take note of. So thank you very much for watching. Again, any suggestions, leave comments. I will get back to you ASAP, and please enjoy our other playlists. You can go to YouTube /Dual Review and tell us what you think. Thanks, guys. See you next time.